Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, and Black Cat issue number 1 in the year 2025. I don't know what was wrong with the Jed MacKay version of this comic book, the Jed MacKay run. It was great, but I talked to him, and he's like, sometimes Marvel's just going to Marvel. And yeah, that makes sense. Pretty sure it was Jed MacKay. Anyway, it was somebody with a very similar name to that, if not. Anyway, I didn't dislike, no, I'm going to say I didn't hate this comic book. It's not my cup of tea. And there's some things in here that I just flat out hate, but it is what it is. I think, if you're a follower of Comic Book University, I'm not going to lie. I'm going to tell you how I really feel about a thing. I'm going to try and be nice about it, unless you're just blatantly being, whatever. But let's get talking about this comic book, starting with who made this comic book. And I'm sure we'll have a lot to talk about as things go on. I just finished reading this comic book. That's how I do my reviews if you're new to the channel. So my immediate emotion is what we're going by, everything that I know about this. This issue is called Careful What You Wish For, which is always a great idea when you're talking about Felicia Hardy. So the writer is Willow Wilson. Artist, Gleb Melnikov. The color artist is Brian Reber. Love Brian. And VC's Joe Caramagna on letters. This guy is just, come on. Anytime you see VC, you know it's going to be good stuff. Anytime you see Joe Caramagna, you know it's going to be some Italian good stuff. Anyway, Adam Hughes is the cover artist. A lot of variant covers in here. None of them happen to be by Gleb Melnikov, the artist here. That's a little bit annoying. Excuse me, because it tells you what Marvel thinks about the interior artist. If you do the interiors of a comic book, you should be doing the main cover of the comic book. If you are not doing the main cover of the comic book, it tells you something about what Marvel thinks of your art. So why are you there in the first place? For a paycheck? You know what I'm saying? Like, either way, I'm going to say that the art in here is interesting. For instance, we start off in a Marvel comic book with dead center first panel, Killer Croc. I know, it's supposed to be the lizard, but look at that face. Look at that face. Gene Colan, shout out to you. Rest in peace. I like the idea they've got Frogman in here. I don't know what the heck this giraffe guy is. I'm pretty sure that Melnikov and Wilson are going to get creator credit for this. I'd be surprised if this is a long-time Marvel character. Maybe it is. What the heck do I know? It's called Comic Book University. It doesn't mean I know every single thing there is to know about comics, guys. Come on. But anyway, they're in the Night Nurse office. Night Nurse has always been a great idea. This tells me a lot about where Willow Wilson is going with this. What the heck does the G stand for anyway? Anyway, I'm just going to keep saying Wilson from now on. It tells me a lot about where Wilson is going, what her inspiration is for this comic book. Mostly female-centric. That is awesome. I also need to stop hitting my desk here. That is awesome. I love the idea that they're going to be making a comic book that's kind of geared towards women. This is a good thing, right? There are already a lot of women reading comic books. Also, she's Hugo Award winning, and I believe she won the GLAAD Award for her Poison Ivy series. She was at least nominated for it. So there's that. She's all over the place. Wilson, by her peers, she is loved. All right? By the fans, not always so much. I'm going to tell you why right now. Because Wilson has to learn how to pick a lane. I don't know what her editors told her she has to do or she can't do or whatever. But the idea that we've got Night Nurse in here in a Felicia Hardy Black Cat comic book, and the idea that it's centered a little bit on her relationship and her feelings about Peter Parker and all sorts of things like, and it's very much like, oh, she's going to go and get a spa treatment done. And look, she's got to work for these shoulders. She's got to do the exercise. Why can't I remember the exercise? I used to do this exercise a lot when my shoulders were a lot bigger, when I just had a lot more mass on me. What do you go? That was before a jiu-jitsu injury, all right? Just calm down now. Anyway, the battle ropes. There we go. So she's working on that. She's getting highlights done in her hair. That's cool. Like, are we actually going to show? I mean, it looks like she's got the dark hair in real life still. I never liked the idea that this is just a wig that she's using. It obviously looks like a wig, but it's comic books. It doesn't have to be a wig. She-Hulk's hair isn't a wig. Oh, God, please don't tell me She-Hulk's hair is a wig. Anyway, She-Hulk might come up in this review, even though she's not in this comic book. Despite all of this showing that this could be a cool comic book that is not just female-centric, but focused on a female audience, guys can read it too. I love the idea of reading like I used to read, like I picked up old issues of Millie the Model and stuff like that. And why can't I remember Hellcat's regular name? Patty something. Not Patty Duke. God, I've watched so many things from way before my time, right? Including these comics. Anyway, so I love the idea of sitting and just reading and getting a female perspective on things, right? Because it can't all be guys. If it were, you would just have, let's go to the She-Hulk run. What the heck? Why can't I remember his name all of a sudden? Did the She-Hulk comic book, did a whole bunch of, some of the Fantastic Four. Are you freaking kidding me? I can't remember this guy's name right now. Anyway, it's not about him anyway. But he did that thing with the Marvel graphic novel where She-Hulk is taking off her clothes. He did the She-Hulk run where she was constantly naked, especially on the front cover. I mean, really, it's pornographic. Like, this isn't something that you're supposed to, like, it's literally appealing to the lowest common denominator inside of us all, right? We don't need to see this sort of a thing. I'm sorry, we live in a world, especially today, where that kind of nonsense is free on the internet for the most part. You could pay if you want, I guess, but like it's been free ever since I was a kid, since I used to look at that sort of stuff. Yeah, I don't want to see that in comics. When I was 13 or 14, I used to think, yeah, because I was, coming of age. But now, no. And that was probably bad for me, too. I probably wouldn't have looked at so much porn. Oh, my God. Comic books were a gateway into the porn thing for me. Ew. But it's true. Especially when you had people like that doing the comic books. And for at least 2 pages in here, it's the exact same thing. And that kind of kills me. I'm sure there's a lot of girls, straight girls even, who are happy to look at naked whatever. There's a full splash page in here of Black Cat sitting in a bathtub with only bubbles to, keep you guessing. I don't think we need stuff like that. That's just my opinion. If you're into that sort of a thing, cool, I guess. You know what I'm saying? I'm not here to rag on you for your tastes, but I just don't think we need things like that in here. It doesn't have to be that exploitative, Also, and I think one of the big things is that, yes, I think one of the main reasons why I say this is because I'm a particularly religious individual. And to see G. Willow Wilson, who has presented herself as a religious figure, that says something. Was she forced to put this in here? Was it expected? But I don't think so. She won a GLAAD award for crying out loud. And that particular religion is the least friendly to GLAAD recipients. So, yeah, says something. I know there's going to be some people who are going to judge what I'm saying. But yeah, I was 26 years into that religion, sitting at the feet of scholars. And I can tell you right now, bad. Bad stuff when we're talking about GLAAD stuff. Anyway, this comic book. I think I'm going to give issue number 2 a shot. I want to see where this is going. If we're going to continue doing this exploitative stuff, just, oh, she's pretty, so we're going to show her with, undressing and doing a striptease and stuff like that and sitting in a bathtub. If we're going to see more of that stuff, then yeah, I'm going to know that this is just appealing to the least common denominator. But I think that G. Willow Wilson would be best served picking a lane. You find something, you find a specific genre and you appeal to that. If you want to appeal to women, which I think you should, I think she should do that, then this could be a fantastic comic book that guys can look at and get some insight. Girls, of course, are going to be drawn to it. It could be one of those things where Marvel could hold it up and be like, hey, you see, inclusivity. And it doesn't have to be man-hating or anything silly like that. It doesn't have to be toxic. But if you're going to be putting a bunch of, pseudo-nudity in here, what are you going to be picking up? Are we also going to see a trans person come walking through here and just, oh my God, blah, 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 and whatever? I don't know how trans people act. I do, but they don't act like that anyway. Just la-di-da walking through a scene because we're going to try to pick up them also. Yeah, let's try and cast the widest net we possibly can. No. In comics, you pick a lane. That is how you're the most successful in what you're doing. If you keep trying to appeal to everyone, you will appeal to no one. You'll actually just wind up ticking everybody off. Just think about that Wonder Woman run that she had. Yeah, we could talk about that. Anyway, guys, that's really all for me. The comic book has more potential than I think any of us are really going to give credit to it for. If you're a fan of G, if you're whatever, I mean, we could talk about the art really quick also. There are midgets in here. Cop midgets. Because they're not drawn to proportion. They're not meant to be midgets. Clearly. NYPD is not that darn inclusive, I know when I was in the military, we are not inclusive at all. If you can make the PT test, you win. If you can make the IQ test, you win. Yeah, I know the idea of, you're not paid to think. Shut up. This is not a movie. You have to be smart to be in the military. You can't be, because if you are, what's the purpose of putting all this money into you if you can't figure out how to operate all this high-tech and very expensive equipment? Still made by the lowest bidder, but it's still expensive. If you can't figure out how to use this equipment, you're useless. You know what I'm saying? So if you can't figure out military tactics, why are we going to put, what is it, $10,000 back when I was into every single soldier, whatever it is, like just in basic training alone, least off your advanced individual training and all that stuff. Anyway, it's the idea. That's why sometimes inclusivity is not the way to go. It's simply about, can you pass these tests? If yes, then come on in. We don't care what you look like. We don't care what you smell like. Actually, yeah, hygiene is important. But anyway, we don't care. Just come on in. That is the kind of inclusivity that I look for. And in this comic, similarly, as best I possibly can relate the two, because a little tangent there. You got to have a comic book where you're focusing on a specific audience. If your net happens to catch a couple others like me, awesome. But you have to be trying to appeal to something. Just writing a comic book is not really going to cut it. Just Captain America is the perfect example. Look at Ta-Nehisi Coates and his run, and a lot of people's run on comic book. Look, one of the most celebrated people of all time in comic books, Mark Waid, still alive, still kicking, and his most recent run on Captain America was so horrible. Yeah, oof. So this is what I'm talking about. It's not just about knowing the character. You can't just use your own voice in a character. You have to use that character's voice. You have to know who this character is. And then it's all about the plot. It's all about which is just one part of the story. It's about the theme. It's about so much. And if you can't find a specific lane to travel down, then it's just a regular old comic book that is going to tick off more people than it's appealing to. I decided to look online and see that most of the big names out there, I think Comics Beat is the only one that gave it a just above average review. That makes me appreciate Comics Beat a little bit more because that was an honest review. I think they were a little bit harsh on the art. I liked the art here, aside from the proportions thing. I think this story went nowhere. There is no purpose for this comic book so far. There's only the potential for a story in here. The relationship with Spider-Man, the idea of her turning a new leaf, the idea of, you know, her being a not just a good person now, but feeling what it's like to be stolen from, right? If we're going to make her more like Catwoman in DC, we're talking about DC and Batman characters, right? There's a lot of potential for this comic book, but we need to pick a lane. And I think that the pornography aspect of this, not what we need to be going for. I hope that's the last time we see. I wish we didn't see it in this one, but I hope that's the last time we see it. What's done is done. And let's just move forward with an actual comic book with a theme in it. If we can do that, this could be good. It really can be. We can get a Black Cat television series on Disney Plus. Why not? But if it's just going to be then nobody's going to want to see that. Yeah, we have to understand the characters, all the characters that are being used in like Daredevil did not feel like Daredevil in here for the brief little bit that he talked at all. Night Nurse was pretty good. I don't know. You can't just throw a bunch of characters in here and hope that it's going to be, you know, appealing. I hope that we can focus a lot more. And I don't really want to keep berating the same topic any longer. We need more focus in the comic book. Pick a lane, stay in that lane, and just hope for the best. Hope that enough eyes are on it. My eyes are on it. I mean, there's that. I'm sure there are other reviewers out there who are going to look at this honestly. Because remember, viewers who don't have any stakes in the game, all of you guys in general who are watching this and wondering, is this comic book any good? Should I pay my hard-earned money for this comic book? I think in general, you guys know the people who are going to be talking because they want to keep on getting books from Marvel. I don't get books from Marvel. Marvel seemingly refuses to send me books, right? There are some individuals who will send me books. There are other companies that send me books. They send interviews my way and everything because they understand I'm going to be polite, but I'm not going to sit here and just give you whatever. I'm not going to give you what you think you want. Oh, the shining reviews and things like that. No. There's a reason why Marvel won't send me books. It's not because I'm being a jerk, right? I am not. But I'm not going to say something was good when it wasn't. This was okay. But it was a pretty strong okay. And I'm hoping that we can do better in the next issue. There's no reason why everything that was presented here, can't be focused and move forward with a great story. That's it for me, guys. Like the video and watch an ad. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.